A big New England welcome from Portland, Maine. This is good old JR, Jim Ross here with Jerry the King Law.
I've never seen a crowd so fired up, JR. They can't wait to get started, and neither can I.
That makes two of us, King. I don't think Portland's going to know what hit it after tonight. This match is going to continue until someone's completely debilitated. And considering the resiliency of these superstars, that's not going...
You're not going to win a match by insulting your opponent.
No, but having the crowd behind you can certainly get the adrenaline pumping. He's got the crowd and his opponent in the palm of his hand.
That can change in an instant, especially if you let your opponent catch his breath.
That went nowhere.
I don't think these superstars have any intention of taking it easy on each other tonight.
That's not what they signed up for, King. And quite frankly, I think these fans would be disappointed if they didn't go all out.
That's easy for the fans to say. They've never set foot inside that ring.
No, but they spend their hard-earned dollars to watch what goes on inside it. And without them, we'd all be out of a job. The referee is down, and now there's no one to maintain order in this match.
Where do they find these referees, JR? They seem to be awfully fragile.
This Lashley is an absolute monster. We've seen him decimate just about every opponent he's ever stepped into the ring against.
Yeah, but it's only a matter of time before Lashley's luck runs out.
Look at the confidence radiating off this superstar.
All I see is an overconfident superstar who's throwing away the match by not following up. Well, from the looks of things, it's not hard to tell how this one's gonna go.
What are you talking about, King? I think this is still an extremely competitive match that could go either way.
You know, JR, this is a mistake, JR. Everyone knows that overconfidence costs superstars matches.
That might be true, King, but all I see is a very confident superstar who's got everything going his way.
Listen to the crowd, JR. I think they've got something to say to these superstars.
And if they're smart, they'll listen. Remember, without these fans...
Here we go, JR. His fans are on their feet.
He sure does, King. Dominator. What a devastating move. His opponent's down, and now he's sharing a piece of his mind.
He's gonna have to eat those words by the end of this match, JR. Can you believe we actually get paid to do this job, JR?
It's like a dream come true, King. Except when I have to sit here and listen to you drool over the divas.
Come on, JR. You know I'm helpless when it comes to puppies.
Oh, I know, King. And that's why I'm bringing a pitcher of ice water out here with me next time.
This has gone beyond just being a match, JR. I think these superstars genuinely hate each other.
There's no love lost between these competitors, that's for sure. If looks could kill, somebody would be pushing up daisies right now.
And you've got to admit, that makes for a much more interesting match, JR.
It sure does. But I just hope these superstars can settle their differences in the ring and leave it at that.
You can look at any professional...
What's he got planned here?
Yes! The Unprettier!
These superstars are going to put each other through wrestling hell tonight.
They've already got a pretty good start on that, JR.
They have indeed, King. I don't think there's an ounce of quit between them.
Yeah, and that's where things get dangerous. If you're too proud to admit that it's not your night, you might wind up risking your career for a single match.
But at the same time, King, no one makes it up the ladder without pushing themselves to the very limit. It's a very fine line to walk. Very few superstars has so completely dominated their opponents the way this young stud Lashley has done in his career thus far.
Yeah, but the problem with being the biggest guy around is that there's always somebody bigger waiting to take you down a peg.
Boy, what a match. I wouldn't even hazard a guess as to who's going to win this thing.
What? Have you got both your contacts in one eye, JR? It's been obvious to me since the start of the match.
Oh, really? Well then, why don't you just enlighten the rest of us, King?
No way! I can already tell this is going to be a great match, and I don't want to ruin the ending for you.
You're too kind, King. You're also full of horse manure, as far as I can tell. I think this crowd's giving these superstars a piece of their minds, King.
Are you sure they can afford it, JR? These superstars are beating the heck out of each other, and this crowd can't get enough of it.
It's what they paid to see, King, and they're getting their money's worth tonight.
They sure are, JR. There's no question these superstars are earning their paychecks. Ugh.
He's a slippery devil. This capacity crowd is solidly behind their superstar. Look at this.
Wow. Could you be any more biased, JR? How about some fair and balanced commentary? So, how do you think this one's going to turn out, JR?
Honestly, King, I have absolutely no idea. Anything can happen here in the WWE.
But you've got to have a guess. He's going up, but what's he going to do when he gets there? He turned the tables on his opponent with that one. Did you ever think you'd be watching these superstars compete against each other here tonight, JR?
I had a feeling their paths were going to cross sooner or later, and I'm glad I'm here to see it.
Me too. It almost makes it worth having to sit next to you and listen to those corny expressions of yours. What the heck is a government mule anyway?
It's what you get beat like when you're in the middle of a slobber knocker. And if you don't have the guts to stick around, you might run like a scalded dog with a case of the liver tape.
All right, enough! I'm getting a translator before I have to come out here with you again.
I'll be honest with you, King. This is not the way I thought this match. He's all fired up now, King, and I'd hate to be on the receiving end.
I don't think his opponent's got a hope of hurting him now. Uh-oh. Come on. You got to stop this guy before he really gets going.
I don't think that's going to happen, King. He's built up too much momentum to be stopped now.
I think he's looking to finish off his opponent right here.
He sure is. And that Dominator's exactly the way to do it. I think this crowd has decided to exercise the right of free speech.
God bless the First Amendment, JR.
This Lashley is so young and so impressive. I can only imagine the career he's got ahead of him.
Well, you know what they say, JR? The candle that burns twice as bright burns half as long.
Maybe so, King. But any superstar who earns himself a spot at WrestleMania in his rookie year is one to watch, as far as I'm concerned.
Man, is there even going to be anything left of these superstars by the time they're done?
Not if they have their way, King. Everything they came in here with tonight is going to be left in that ring, mark my words.
I hope these fans appreciate it, JR. These superstars are putting it all on the line for them right here tonight. Oh boy, these fans have got something on their minds, JR.
Well, they paid for their tickets, King, and they've got a right to say whatever they want. I'll tell you what, King, the WWE superstars are about the greatest athletes you'll find in any sport, period.
Just about, JR. Can you actually think of anywhere else that you can see athletes of this caliber?
I was just going for a little humility there, King. I'm not surprised it was lost on you.
these fans have gotten their money's worth tonight, JR?
If they haven't yet, I'm sure they're going to by the end of this match.
Well, I don't say this too often, but I completely agree. Oh, man, that's going to change the tone of this match, JR.
Yeah, and not for the better either. I wish the ref would actually pay attention to what's going on. This capacity crowd is making their opinions known tonight.
They sure are, JR, and I love to hear it. Lashley's got all the size and strength anyone can ask for, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to get him the win here tonight.
That's your opinion, King. He's climbing up. I'm not so sure this is a good idea.
You talk about ruthless aggression. Look at the way these superstars have been going after each other.
They're not playing with kid gloves, that's for sure.
We knew we were going to see a heck of a match, but this might turn out to be... No, go ahead and say it, JR.
All right, I will. I think this one's got all the makings of a bona fide...
Climbing up the turnbuckle isn't bad. It's all the ways you could come down that hurt.
A lot of blood, sweat, and tears have been shed in that very ring.
And I think there's going to be a lot more shed here tonight.
No doubt about that, King. These superstars are going to leave it all in the ring. You can count on that. I'm sure these competitors have studied each other very carefully.
This match would be over by now if they hadn't, JR. You never get into the ring without doing your homework.
That would be a recipe for disaster for sure, King.
I think these superstars have a legitimate beef with each other, JR.
So do I, King. I'm not so sure their issues with each other are going to be solved with one match.
I hope not. I'd love to see them go at it again and again. I think these superstars... Wow! That might not have been strictly on the up and up, but it's going to be a huge advantage for him.
He's just lucky the referee didn't call him or he'd be disqualified for sure.
I think we're going to find out just how much punishment the human body can withstand here tonight.
I think you're right, King. These
I think someone's going for a high-risk move, JR. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world, JR. I can't believe I actually get paid to do this job.
Well, don't let Mr. McMahon hear you say that, King, or you might wind up having to do it for free.
That's true. I don't want to say that Mr. McMahon's cheap, JR, but I heard he won't even tip a canoe. I know that Lashley's a big, strong guy, but there's a lot of big, strong guys out there. What makes him so special?
How about the fact that he's a 3-time National Wrestling Champion, or the fact that he's a 4-time Wrestling All-American, or...
Okay, so he's got some amateur wrestling credentials. Big deal. This isn't the minor leagues, JR. This is the WWE.
Sounds like this crowd's got something on their minds, King.
Who cares about... It's like he read his opponent's mind. You gotta respect the commitment and the dedication of these superstars to their careers.
No question about it, King. Every superstar on the roster has had to make more sacrifices than any other professional athlete I know.
It really is like being married to your career. There's not much room for anything else.
And marriage is a subject which you happen to be something of an authority. Isn't that right, King?
Come on now, JR. A man doesn't know what true happiness is until he's married. And then it's too late.
I tell you, you're putting a lot on the line when you climb that turnbuckle.
I think I see where this one's going, JR. I don't think we're very far from the end of the match.
I disagree entirely, King. I'd bet my Oklahoma Sooner ass that this one isn't even close to being over.
That's a pretty big bet, JR. Are you sure you're able to cover it?
I've got a feeling that this has all the makings of an instant classic.
Looks like someone's heading for the high rent district. wonder how long these superstars will be able to keep this up.
They'll go as long as they need to, King. And if they can't, they won't be having their arms raised after the match. That's for damn sure.
The intensity of these superstars.
He's going up. This could backfire.
I wonder if Smackdown's going to have anything nearly this good next Friday.
I think we both know the answer to that one, King. How could they compete with a match like this?
I talked to these superstars backstage before the match, and I don't think I've ever seen competitors so ready to get it off.
He should be disqualified for that.
For what? I didn't see anything wrong with that.
Well, you can't ever accuse the WWE fans of being shy about saying what's on their minds.
You sure can, JR, and I don't think we'd have it any other way. Here he goes, up the turnbuckle. This could be really good or really bad. Remind me to never try and step between these guys, JR.
That would be hazardous to your health for sure, King.
I feel so lucky that I'm actually getting to see these superstars wrestle each other.
Me too, King.
Oh no, this is terrible. You can't let your opponent build this kind of momentum.
Well, all I can say is someone's been eating their vitamins and saying their prayers. Look at him feeding off the energy from this capacity crowd. He's unstoppable.
You can't ever count on these fans, JR. They're fickle, and they'll abandon you in a heartbeat.
Oh my! Looks like someone's been busted wide.
Here's your winner, Randy